Okay, so let me start with your first question, because that's a very deep question. So you say, like you said, I said it's replicatable, but no one is replicatable. So it took me a long time to figure this out, and I'm just about getting close to figuring it out. So there is something strange in the human genome, and that something strange makes people, and the good news is we have some time, so I can give you my expanded answer. That makes people very much opposed to being intense copycats. So humans, most humans, do not want to do cloning. And they do not want to do cloning because they consider it beneath themselves. And of course, low-life people like me do not consider cloning beneath myself, and so I'm willing to do it. So to give you an example, if you look at a company like Microsoft, Microsoft isn't even that great a cloner, because anything they work on takes them about 3 or 5 or 7 versions to get it right. Sorry, Ashok, maybe you can make it better for them. But it takes them a long time. But bottom line is that most of Microsoft's revenue comes from Windows, which was cloned, comes from Office, which was cloned. PowerPoint was actually bought from another company. Word was lifted from WordPerfect. Excel was lifted from Lotus, and so on and so forth. And even SQL Server was lifted from Oracle, and it just goes on and on. You can look at Microsoft Money. You can look at Bing coming from Google, and so on. So bottom line is that Microsoft isn't even that great a cloner, but it's one of the largest and most successful companies out there. You look at another company, and this is something that really perplexes me, is a company called Walmart. And so Sam Walton, the people who knew him well, founder of Walmart, they would not call him a brilliant man. He was not someone who would have been blowing off IQ tests, and I think most of the people in this room would have a higher IQ than Sam Walton. But Sam Walton, if he were alive today, he would have a net worth of about 150 billion, he'd be the richest person on the planet. And Walmart, for the first 20 years of its existence, did not come up with any innovation. All Walmart did was they looked at Kmart's model and they looked at Sears' model, and they replicated that model. That's it. And in fact, what I find really funny is that in India, we have this big debate going on about letting, let's digress for a second, foreign retailers in so that they can make things more efficient. And then they talk about Walmart coming in. There is nothing in Walmart's business model that anyone cannot look at by walking into a Walmart and replicating it. India does not need Walmart to come in order for retail to become efficient. India just needs an entrepreneur to look at that model and replicate it. That's it. There's nothing else needed. So there's nothing special about Walmart's model. There's nothing special about Microsoft's model. And it goes on and on. McDonald's, for example, they have a whole army of people, whole departments, which spend all their time trying to figure out which is the next location they should put the next McDonald's in. They do a lot of studies and analysis to figure out demographics and all that. In the United States, Burger King, which competes with McDonald's, has 2 people figuring out locations. And all they do is look at where McDonald's is putting their locations. And it's a very powerful strategy. So they look at, McDonald's is opening up in Peoria, Illinois, in this corner. Okay, we'll take real estate in that corner, we'll open up over there too. They've done all the work, so they must be working. And it's worked really well for them. So the thing is, the Walmarts of the world, and the Burger Kings of the world, and the Microsofts of the world are a rarity. Most people do not want to do cloning because they think it's slow. So in fact, even when I looked at Buffett's model, when I set up my own investment partnership, the Pabrai funds, I replicated the Buffett partnerships. And he closed his partnership in 1969. I opened my partnership in 1999, 30 years later. In 30 years, I could not find one example of a single fund anywhere in the world that had replicated the Buffett model, which was the most successful hedge fund ever created. Nobody replicated a model that ran from 56 to 69, and there were books published, the books I read, and the books had sold millions of copies, and they got printed in many languages and all of that. So and the model was very simple. There's nothing special about the model, but and even today, forget 1999. Today is 2013. I've been running Pabrai funds for almost 14 years. Actually, it's been 14 years, over 14 years. And I've spoken at so many business schools and so many different places, and I've answered questions like you've asked. And I've asked the business school students that, listen, there's no point paying fees to ISB. I'm sorry, have they already collected fully in advance? Pardon? Half. So you can still save half. Sorry, Vikram. I'm sorry, this is not an ad, but you can still save half. What you can do is, you don't need to even listen to the rest of the boring Q&A. You can walk out right now and start replicating. And every time I say this, nobody walks out. They want to keep paying tuition. So anyway, so first of all, the only thing I can figure out is there's something in the human genome that makes cloning very attractive to maybe 1 or 2% of the population, if that, or probably less than that. And for some reason makes it very attractive. So I have found, because I've understood this, I have adopted cloning in a very serious manner. In fact, on my gravestone, they will write, and I hope they write, he was a cloner. That's it.